When Boxing Hall of Famer Floyd Mayweather took on the UFC's biggest ever star, Conor McGregor, the world of combat discovered a highly lucrative way to make fights that wasn't an option in the past. There had been fights like the one between heavyweight boxing champion Muhammad Ali and pro wrestling icon Antonio Inoki, but it was basically a special rules exhibition match. And sumo wrestling Yokozuna Akebono stepped into the kickboxing ring to take on Bob Sapp for one of the most watched events in Japanese TV history. But fights like these were curiosities. They weren't going to change the world. In fact, they were a bit of a joke. For some reason, though, Mayweather versus McGregor was taken very seriously. And more importantly, the two fighters made over $100 million apiece. Obviously, this was a game changer. UFC champions immediately started calling out boxing champions in the hope of making more money than they could ever make in mixed martial arts. But none of the call-outs came to fruition, and that's mostly for two very good reasons. The first is that the big-name champion boxers like Canelo Alvarez, for example, will make more money fighting other boxers. Most UFC fighters still aren't the financial draws that the boxing champions are. And the second, and probably bigger reason, is that the UFC president, Dana White, says no. He doesn't want to risk his champions getting beat up, or worse, injured by boxers. It's as simple as that. But White made an exception for Mayweather versus McGregor, because Mayweather wasn't like the other champions.
When I faced Arturo Gatti, I went to his turf. He was the A side, I was the B side. I beat him, I didn't cry, I didn't complain. When I faced Oscar De La Hoya, he was the A side, I was the B side. I didn't cry, I didn't complain. I beat him and I became the A side. For Conor McGregor, I'm coming out of retirement just to fight Conor McGregor.
Mayweather wasn't a champion. He wasn't even in the game. That made the bout so much less of a risk for both Floyd and the sport of boxing. Do you know what happens when a UFC champion steps into the boxing ring with a genuine boxing champion in their prime? No, no one does, because no one really did. Because it's such a bad idea. This is a sparring session between the former UFC bantamweight champ TJ Dillashaw in the pink headgear, who is one of the best MMA strikers the bantamweight division has ever seen, and the lightweight boxing phenom Vasyl Lomachenko. Dillashaw is trying, but he's getting nowhere. Actually, he's getting somewhere, but it's not by choice, and it's backward. It's like watching a cat play with a mouse. You can even ask Dillashaw. I just got my ass whooped, Dillashaw said with a laugh after the session. Just his awareness, his cardio, and his pace. Just how smart he spars. He's definitely on another level. The idea of a UFC champion taking on a current boxing champ like Lomachenko was ridiculous. At least it used to be. Francis Ngannou just ruined that for everyone. But there's a big difference between Ngannou and McGregor, and that's about 153 pounds. Unlike McGregor and Dillashaw, Ngannou is a heavyweight, and that is crucial.
I've heard all this talk before about power and all that sort of stuff, so I'm looking forward to a challenge. And if it's not a challenge, I'll be disappointed, put it that way.
You watch a prime Mayweather, and he's an unbelievable example of superhuman speed, reflexes, and timing. At the smaller divisions, you simply do not get a belt without them. It's impossible. At heavyweight, and only at heavyweight, speed and reflexes aren't mandatory when you can walk into a ring with an equalizer like Deontay Wilder's right hand.
Bring it on. I'm being really honest with you guys. Like, I've trained for a 12-round war, and if it's anything less, then it's going to be an early night. And I've been hit by the biggest punches that's ever graced the face of the earth, and I'm still undefeated, I'm still standing, I'm still #1, so we're going to see what Francis has got inside of him. We're going to see if he's got the guts to stand and trade with a heavyweight champion of the world. We're going to see if he's got the belief in his power. And I'm not convinced. I wasn't convinced with Deontay Wilder's power until he knocked me down with it about 14 times. And now I'm convinced.
Ngannou fought an actual champion in the lineal champion Tyson Fury. And Ngannou put the champ down. It's because of this, the situation is worse than last time. Ngannou vacated the UFC title and left the heavyweight division of all MMA in a heap. Then the light heavyweight GOAT John Jones returned to claim the vacant title in a walkover. Career heavyweight Tom Aspinall fought for and claimed the interim title in a walkover. And Jones won't fight Aspinall to unify the titles. So who is the real champion? It's just like when McGregor left the lightweight division in a heap, with champions and interim champions taking his place. But Mayweather didn't leave boxing in a heap because he was retired. He didn't leave a division without a top dog, but he sent McGregor back to MMA, where Mayweather wouldn't dare step. Ngannou, on the other hand, has rocked the world of boxing.
I'm just a beginner out here that's gonna train really hard and do everything and come as an underdog to win the fight.
Anthony Joshua is trying to earn a third heavyweight world championship, and there's a bevy of worthy boxers itching for their chance at the title. But who does he fight? Francis Ngannou in Ngannou's second pro boxing bout. And not because he's worthy, because he's not.
So I don't take my last fight as a reference and think that I get this done and think that I get everything. You know, I know exactly where I am at. I'm just a beginner, and I'm definitely gonna come up better. And that's how I see things. I'm getting prepared for a hard fight. Yes, the Tyson Fury fight was great. It was awesome, but that's now in the past, and I have a new challenge in front of me.
Fury versus Ngannou was a 10-round, non-championship bout. It was basically an exhibition. And once Fury realized Ngannou was half-decent after the knockdown, he won 6 of the next 7 rounds on one of the judges' scorecards. But it was enough that AJ can now face Ngannou instead of a genuine contender, a real threat. And now, heavyweight boxing looks as bad as MMA. But there is hope.
I won't say too much, but he brings 2 arms, a body, like every other fighter does. But it's just his mind that's different to everyone. And I'm looking forward to the challenge for sure. And that's it, really. It's going to be good. It's going to be explosive. Got many ways to skin a cat. I can counter punch, he can counter punch. We can both box, as he's proven himself too. And we can both trade. And it was going to be a good fight.
Ngannou has proven the doubters wrong time after time after time. So who knows? Maybe he does flatten AJ. Maybe he is a legitimate contender, and we can all move on. But more importantly, Fury and Usyk have finally signed on to fight for the undisputed title. And if that fight happens, and the inevitable rematch happens quickly and puts an end to a trilogy, boxing's heavyweight division may come out of this mess better than it has been in decades. Thanks for watching. And remember, if you want more fight sports in your life, just hit the subscribe button.